I don't want to sound like a boomer. Back in my days, house cost 50k in the back grain. But what are those? Damn! Alright, it's pretty obvious we ain't buying a house anytime soon. At least we ain't living in Hong Kong. Those maps live in literal cages.
An 800 square foot apartment is divided into 30 coffin-sized units. These homes lack windows for fresh air or even sunlight, and inside each claustrophobic closet is a person silently battling depression and anxiety.
While still paying like half their salary for that.
Money.
But that doesn't really matter.
Is not owning any kind of property a big deal?
No. A big deal is that Netflix went from $15 to $18, even though their catalog is ass. But that ain't exactly what angers me. You wanna watch Aquaman? Too bad, cause he living to another platform. You wanna watch anything Star Wars related? Too bad, you gotta have Disney Plus. Unless you pay more, you'll be shown ads while watching your favorite TV shows. Also, no more password sharing. Basically, any kind of online entertainment nowadays might as well cost an arm and a leg, especially when it comes to video games. I can't imagine there are people who be buying games on release date. Have you seen these prices, man?
Money.
A few years ago, I was an avid advocate against piracy because people be stealing from all these creators, I thought. But considering that when you buy a game online, it clearly states you don't own shit while paying $70 to $80, it might as well be them who's robbing us. I'ma keep it a buck. If anyone's watching this video from the US, I've seen your egg prices, man, and from what I heard, this problem is just in California, but I don't know.
We're gonna win so much, you may even get tired of winning, and you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more.
But even here in Europe, prices for food, which is, or at least should be, one of the most basic human necessities, something you shouldn't even have to think about, are getting out of hand. I went to my local grocery store a month ago at around 1 p.m. All the prices seemed the same, nothing out of the ordinary. But then when I came back home and some hours went by, I saw my Nuttela, which has low-key been my addiction lately, was empty. So you already know I went to the store to buy some more. To cut a long story short, in the morning it was $4.99, some hours went by, and now it'd be costing $5.99. My conclusion is that prices are out of hand.
The list goes on. Somebody might have to get involved.
Another thing is that almost all food manufacturers shrink the size of their products to increase profits
Money.
while selling them for the same price or even higher. There was a local chocolate brand I used to buy every time I went to a city from my village because it wasn't sold in my local grocery store. Over the years, the bar went from 88 grams to 83, then 76, while the price kept going up. A little after Christmas, my dad and I wanted to replace our old 1928 PC that could only run Lego Batman and other games released before 2015. We ordered all the parts but didn't have enough money for RAM, so we waited a month until my dad's next paycheck to purchase it. But what was our surprise when we saw the RAM we wanted, which was around 600 euros, but now, well, you can see it before your eyes. RAM prices are going to be getting higher and higher, so don't hesitate to purchase RAM, because the reason why RAM prices are going up in the first place is because of AI companies like OpenAI, for example, buying all the RAM from all these different manufacturers to improve their AI models. I don't really understand what they need them for specifically, but that doesn't matter because the only thing that does matter is they need them and they have billions of dollars.
Money.
So unless you want to spend your parents' 401k to buy some RAM, you should do it now. At least one thing that's kind of cheap now is a BBL surgery. I mean clothes, thanks to such countries as China and Pakistan, where they can make relatively good quality clothing while paying like $10 a month to their employees. That's how you get your fast fashion, by the way. But hey, I don't want to get into all this fashion stuff because I honestly don't know anything about it. I mean, I'm a guy who wears literally the same pants, t-shirts, and sneakers all year round. As long as it's comfortable, I'm wearing it. I really don't envy car drivers because every day out the window of my bus I see the prices for gas, and that makes me less angry about the bus fare, which is $75 a month, because those MFs pay $75 every day to fill up like half of their tank. I was editing some videos earlier today, just minding my business, when I received this email.
Oh my God, fuck. Hit my grandma with a pack of cat, hit my little niece with a tricycle, hit my little nephew with a damn tie rod, hit my mama with a patch of tie, hit my uncle with a piece of goat. What the fuck is that?
Dude, how is this possible? Damn! I didn't even remember I had a CapCut subscription.
I don't know who else needs to hear this, but
this just happened to me. For my $20 a month plan, this fee was over $80, and I was like, no way.
Software subscriptions are the worst, unless you're Mr. Beast. How can freaking software require that much money? I know it's my fault, I should have been more attentive, but that was low-key my last money for that month, man. I really don't understand how students or beginner freelancers are supposed to pay that every month, because if you're a YouTuber, animator, or just in general, if your work is in creative fields, you're gonna need more than just one subscription to Photoshop, so that adds up. Earlier at the beginning of this video, I said that housing prices are are literally unattainable for 90% of the population. But rent, on the other hand, is something that people will have to pay for every day of their lives. And this thing, it's not staying in just one place, it's constantly moving up in this wretched world, unlike me. But some people will say, oh, but it's rent, it's something you have to pay for if you want housing. You're right. But I have a question. Why at 20 years old do I have to pay $600 for the displeasure to live in a one-bedroom apartment on the outskirts of a no-name city? And that's just rent, don't forget about utilities. Like, how can a one-bedroom apartment, not a house, in the middle of nowhere in the sketchiest part of town, no furniture, no kitchen, no nothing, and be costing $600, $800? It would be okay if they at least were selling spacious accommodation for that price, but nah. In a major city like, hell, Michigan, in a major city like Boston, it's gonna be 10 square feet, the kitchen and the bathroom and the toilet and the sink. That's gonna be $2,000 a month and a 4-year lease. Because the most important thing for a human's development is a safe, affordable environment. Without this criteria, taking care of your health or education is not gonna be on your mind when you're in survival mode 24/7. Because instead of learning, I don't know, chemistry or mastering a skill, it's going to be replaced with how if you don't pay your bills this month, you're gonna be jumped by your landlord with his goons, or selling your last panties on eBay and having to freeball. A few years ago, I was just scrolling through TikTok and found some memes where people show their medical bills. All this was in America. Before then, I really didn't know that medical debt is the #1 cause of bankruptcy in America. So if you have a $10,000 deductible, you pay the first $10,000 of medical bills yourself. Only after that does insurance kick in for covered services. Many plans do have deductibles that high. Also, you got co-pays where you gotta pay at least $50 to $100 per visit. Also, about half of Americans get health insurance through their job. Your employer chooses the insurance company, the plan options, how much of the premium they'll pay, but you pay the rest. To sum it up, my main problem is that everything is expensive, like everything. Houses, clothes, food, like everything that, you know, a human needs to live. Prices that even Elon Musk is probably struggling with. But it ain't just those, even pastime activities like Netflix, gaming, movies. Even going to movies is expensive now, almost $20 for a ticket. So if you're going with a girl or your family, you gotta be carrying a crisp $100 bill. Because if you want the concessions, that truth be told were always expensive, but now it's become affordable only by the likes of Elon Musk. But last time I checked, we ain't Elon Musk's or Jeffrey Epstein's. I'm broke! Different fast food chains used to have a $1 menu. It ain't exist no more, it's called McValue and whatever other alternative and other companies. People will say, oh, they're just adjusting for inflation. But I really don't think a multi-billion-dollar company would struggle if they kept the same prices. It's not like they're selling actual meat from a cow or chicken, it'd just be amalgamation of the cheapest, poorest quality cuts of meat that was liquefied and joined together to make your patty. McDonald's ain't struggling, their employees are. Being a low-wage cock working for a multi-billion-dollar company that literally would sell your soul to the devil for a profit increase of a single penny is tough, I'ma keep it a buck. In an alternative universe, if I were the president, what would be my solution to this worldwide economic crisis?
I'm big on ice cream, and that puts me in real trouble. You know what I mean?